Hey guys, welcome to this video. Today is about equivalence. Equivalence is a method which every structural engineer should know who is dealing with finite element models because it's very important and it can screw up your model if you don't take care of it pretty badly, as I will show you in a minute. So yeah, let's jump into it. Here. We have a model here set up and it looks fine, right? You have boundary conditions on one side. Yeah, I know, it's not really realistic to fix every DOF on every node, but yeah, you get the point. It's just an exemplary model, so don't bother with it too much. We have a force on the other side with 100 newtons. These are both P shells, so we have a property of P shell here with the material of steel. So, and the thickness is 1, so nothing fancy here, just a little sheet metal. And for yeah, just sizing here. I think they are 100 by 100. Let's check that with the distance panel. F4 for the quick shortcut. Just select two nodes. Yeah, 190. So it's 10 millimeter length and 100 or 200 in complete total thing here. So you see that there are two different components. The magenta, pink view was the property view. They share the same property, but there are two different components and two different surfaces, and they're meshed with F12, the quick measure, right? Okay, so if I run that, and I did that previously, we will end up with something like this. One part of our model will fly away. So you have large displacements, and that comes from a pretty bad setup here, because you think those are those are one node here, one nodes. So every node is one node, but there actually are two nodes, because the lines, they did not know something from each other, and the measure just put the nodes on the same locations, but there are actually two nodes. And those two nodes, they don't know each other, so they don't transmit force, so it flies away. Now, how to check that? How to check that in your model, because like this, you would not be able to tell. There's a tool here, tool edges, and this will just highlight all the nodes which are within a certain range to each other. So I select two components here, and then I press here preview equivalence. It will show me all those nodes which are in these tolerances. Let's check that. Let's just move one of the components a little bit off, right? So tool and then translate, and then I will translate the whole component, let's say by 0.1 millimeter in the X direction. So I did that, and now if you zoom in, you will see those have a gap here. Now let's get back to the equivalence tool, or the edges tool. I select both components again, and then press preview equivalence, and you see zero nodes were found, so you don't have this. And this is because the gap of 0.1 millimeter is larger than the tolerance here. Now let's increase the tolerance. 0.11, for example, and again preview equivalence, and boom, you have your nodes found. It's funny that it's just on one side. So if you do equivalence, it switches it to one of the two, I guess. Let's see. So if I press equivalence, this will get equivalence. So the nodes will be merged. And as it's indicating me right here, I suspect that it will shift this node to here. Let's see. Yeah, no, it didn't. So it's merged it, but the original geometry was kept the same. All right, reject that, and yeah, that's about it. Let's revert the translation here. Let's translate, not translation, the translate. I will just move that component back by this amount, and want to show you a different approach of finding this sort of error. You can see that in the geometry, because they have, or Hypermesh has a color system which lets you recognize if edges are the same or there are two edges, And this is quite neat and saves you a lot of trouble. So let's go back and delete all the elements. And now let's say we want to check the geometry, right? And F11 for quick edit. So you are in this menu where you can edit the geometry. There's different ways to do that as well. But what you see here is that you have red lines everywhere. And red lines indicate those are lines which share just one surface. They don't share any surfaces, right? So those are outer lines, which is perfectly fine for most of them. So for example, this line should only have one surface attached to it because, yeah, this is the only surface. But on this occasion, two surfaces meet and there should be a green line. And spoiler alert, if you have three surfaces, this should be yellow. And this is how you indicate the lines. And if you have a blue dotted line, this means that it is suppressed. So how can I match those two lines, combine them, as you will? You see here this toggle edge. And if you have toggle edge, you have also a tolerance value, which is similar to the tolerance of the equivalence function we saw earlier. And now if I left click, it will just merge the two lines, or two, yeah, lines. I will do that. Click here a couple of times. Oh, what the? Let's see. They changed that? Cannot select the line. Maybe I have to. Maybe I have to. Have to. Yeah, I'm in the selector. I cannot click on those lines. Strange. Should be it should be like that, but it's not anymore. Okay, let's quickly find that out together. So first thing I would suggest that is part of the style here. Let's just use wireframe so we don't have the surfaces in our way. Now I try to toggle edge again. So I can select those, but here it says 0 lines were found. Yeah, it's also okay. So selection process works like that, but it doesn't find it because the tolerance value is 2. 4 lines added. The quick line tool, the quick edit tool works a little bit, I don't know. It doesn't work really good, right? Let's increase the tolerance, maybe to 0.1. And it's still not working. Or is it because I have the color settings wrong? No, topology is the correct color setting. So I cannot get those two edges equivalenced with that tool. That's a bummer. I have to find out why this is not working. Yeah, that's really strange. We'll do a follow-up video explaining that when I found that out, but there's a different way to do that as well. It's really striking me because this should be possible, right? I cannot have wrapped my head around it. Let's see again. I want to geom lines edit. Toggle line is not there. Well, auto cleanup should work. This is the second option, and a rather more automatically tuned one. Let's see if that works. So if you do your geometry cleanup, right? You can edit the parameters here, and there's an option for edge equivalence. The tolerance value you could set to a number, or let's have that on auto, and also don't allow T connections, for example. And maybe you just want to have it within components only. This could be the bummer. Maybe it is. Because those two surfaces they don't share the same component. So let's see. Maybe we found a solution right here. Let's transfer one surface to the other component, so that those two surfaces are in the same component. I will do that with the organize panel. Yeah, it's here in tools and organize, I guess. But rather than that, Shift and F11. one of the shortcuts you should know. And now we want to shift the surface. Let's pick the right one to the component 1. Move, and we're done. So let's see if those have the same color, and choose the mesh style to be. So those are two. That's the same. No, now I'm thrilled about this. Let's see. F11, and just mark the two. No. Ah, now it worked. This is a bit stupid. Alright. Okay. Alright, maybe I'm a bit stupid, but as you see, I now found a solution to it. So I think it worked. It worked right before also, but you have to be a little bit careful here. So this is the. Let's see. Now I want to know the whole thing. Let's move the component back again, so the surface 2 in component 2, because I think this should work. Now I will enter the quick edit panel again. I'm in the toggle edge lines, and now yeah, you have to be a little bit patient, right? So you move your mouse here, and I happen to see that it worked better at the start and at the end of the line, because we were clicking here like crazy the other day right before. So yeah, be a little bit patient. So as it highlights up, I think it suggests to you that it found something, right? And I just click once, and boom, you have a minimum gap of 0.0, which is close. So those two lines are now merged. Now, if you mesh this, you will have the same nodes. Let's see. F12 for meshing. I will just mesh it here. Interactive. Just want to see elements to surface comp. That's the important thing, because I don't want to have to mesh all in one component. So mesh it and return. And it looks like before, right? Nothing changes, but now you go to Tool and Edges, and you select the components and say, let's keep that back to 0.01. Review equivalence. 0 nodes were found. So those nodes are now the same. And our analysis should run. And I did not put the SPC, the boundary condition, to the line. This is a mistake I made, because then I would not have to bother again with it. So let's see if I can put that to lines. Zero lines found. So today I have a little bit struggling with the line. No, it's too much. So with Shift, that's also very important that you know, in the new versions, with Shift you can deselect. So 5 lines subtracted. Alright, I don't care at all. Now I create that, it gets created, it is at the center of the line, but not just that node. We will see that in a bit. And I'm now expecting that model to run fine. Let's see. Let's see. Corrected. Yeah, corrected. Yeah, it's corrected. And you can see that even without opening the results, because you see the maximum displacements right here, which is 0.02 millimeters. That's okay. I suspect that this model is fine. All right, now one thing more. If you want to split up edges, it works just the same way. And you go back into this in this quick edit, geometry quick edit, and you can toggle the edges back. And now let me see if I can make this. I just don't want to show the elements right now. So we have the topology again here. And so you know that if I was clicking here, a little bit frustrated that it's working that badly, but yeah. So wait until it's highlighted, then click it once more. Oh, now the mesh is back because I suppressed it, right? So left click toggles the edge, then it was green. And now clicking left once more suppresses the edge, which means it's now blue dotted, which means that this line has no effect on the meshing. You can see that if you do a tetra mesh, and not a tetra, a triangular mesh. Let's just delete all elements and mesh it once again. And now do a trias mesh. You will see. Okay, now I have to be a little bit more. Let's see, something which does not align with the middle. Yeah, you see, it does not respect that line anymore, which it would with having that line green. So how to get back from a blue dotted line to a green to two red lines? You just press Shift and then click again. So I shift clicked on it, so it is green now. Now let's again mesh it. Maybe with the same values, with the 7, because there it was definitely not respecting it, and you see now it's respecting that, right? So this is it, and just for the completeness, I will just show that to you. How to get two red lines. Again, press Shift and wait till it's highlighted and press once more and you have the two red lines, right? All right, so this is the manual procedure, and as I wanted to tell you a bit earlier where we had those problems, I just can do that also with Geom Auto Cleanup. And this should merge those two lines as well. Let's see. I just select the surfaces and do an auto cleanup, and boom, it even suppressed the edge because it thought that it's better for the mesh flow, that you can better align it or something like that. So you have to check that what the auto cleanup does, but you see it changed the topology and you don't have this flying away behavior of your model if you have it with auto cleanup. So this is the fast way. The manual way was with the quick edit with F11, and if you know how to manage the toggle, the toggle feature. And let's just for sake try it once more. I'm holding down Shift. I'm not seeing it highlighted. Maybe turn it a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit awkward. Does not recognize it anymore. So maybe I'm missing here something. Could be. But it's rather difficult to do this. It was not that difficult in previous versions, I must say. I'm not sure if that's a feature of some sort, but yeah. Before the auto cleanup, seems to not recognize this anymore. And maybe this is because the surfaces are a little bit in the way. It's just me playing around a little bit. You go to wireframe, surface lines, no lines. You should definitely be able to select these lines, right? But you see, I'm hovering my mouse here, nothing happens. Ah, here. So here nothing happens, right? But it's maybe because it selects the other line, and that's why. But here it should. Well, it's a bit difficult, but on one end it works just fine. So I'm just hovering my mouse around. Here it does not work. Here you can see it selects the line on the bottom. So it's as a starting. It's a little bit of debugging here, right? But you can see that it happens to work on one end. Right? Here it does not work. Here it works. Here it works. And also here it works. Strange. Here it doesn't work. Here it works. So yeah. Alright, I hope this video helps if you're struggling with that function, that you may also see how to do it, and maybe you don't have this problem. Even better, then please comment down below. Maybe it's a bug on my version. It could also be. Then I just have to do a reinstall and everything will be fine. But yeah, you can see that here. Alright, enough talk of that. Just quickly doing that again, back to the original state. Green, blue, and back. So this works fine. I have to fiddle around a little bit with it, but it works. Alright, that concludes this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something from it. And if you have any questions, just comment down below. Leave a subscribe, a thumbs up. I would be happy to see that. And I see you in the next video. Goodbye.